Really?
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight, we are going to be talking about home ownership and COVID 19. And tonight, we have some amazing panelists for you. And I'm going to bring my panelists onto the stage now, and I will let them introduce themselves to you tonight. Good evening, ladies. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight and being on this panel so we can let the people know about COVID 19 and home ownership. I know for me, I'm in this Facebook group called Budgetnistas and Dreamcatchers. And every day in that group, I kid you not, I'm seeing pictures of people who are closing on their homes. Like at least 5 posts a day saying, "Hey, I just closed on my home today." And people like, not only here in North Carolina, but all over the country are buying homes left and right. And so I'm sure I'm not the only one who wants to get the scoop on, how can I get some of this money, to buy my dream home or even maybe get a home built from the ground. And so that's why I contacted you, lovely ladies. And so you can help the people out tonight. And so let's get started. I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves. I'm going to start with you, Corinne. If you could just introduce yourself and tell everybody about your business.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for having us. I look forward to really talking with all you ladies tonight and talking with you guys. Again, my name is Corinne. I'm Corinne Bowman. I'm with KU Real Estate Group of Keller Williams. I'm based right here in the Triangle of Raleigh, North Carolina. Just to kind of give you some insight of the business itself, I've actually been in business for a little bit short of 20 years. I started on the lending side, and then from there, I began real estate investing in 2008. And then 2011, I got my broker's license. And so, our business itself, we really focus on client service and really coming from a place of value proposition and adding value to our client's life of just understanding real estate. Real estate truly, truly is the catalyst of building wealth. And so that's something we're passionate about. And we love to inspire and empower our clients to take advantage of their equal share.
Okay. And at the end, I want you to make sure you tell everybody about your event that you're having tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
yeah, at the end when we're done, my friend Rashia Cox, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about your business and your services that you offer.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much, Deloise, for having us on this panel. So great, much information that is needed is for this time. And so thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Rashia Cox, and I am the CEO and founder of Arise Den LLC. Arise Den has been launched since 2017. What Arise Den just helps people simply arise in any area that they need to arise in. Specifically for this panel, in the area of finance, we help people restore their credit. We help people understand the principles of budgeting, saving, paying off debt, and the importance also of being able to establish those important documents like wills, power of attorney, and trust documents. And so a lot of people get really, really discouraged when they get to the home buying process because they've went on Credit Karma and they saw that they've got maybe a 702, when in essence, that's not really true, right? And so get a lot of people in my pipeline to just really kind of understand what their credit looks like. And we take them through a program. I'm actually partnered with a company that actually does all of the work for my clients, and I just come in and I coach them through their results and kind of help them through those next steps to home ownership. So that's what Arise Then does.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
being with us tonight.
Mhm.
Melissa Brockington, my sister. How long we known each other now for, Melissa?
Oh my.
Wait,
Uh,
2013, about seven
yeah,
years
about
now.
7, 8 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
I think you're right, Dolores. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this panel. I'm definitely happy to be a part of such a great thing, of such great women of God, women of color. Hey, I'm excited. My journey started actually when my husband and I built our home in 2010. I had heard of a program called NACA, and I became an advocate throughout utilizing the program as a first time home buyer. Process was really good. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. Wasn't really sure about how I would get into it, but I did want to tell people about this great program and how you can, become a homeowner, and how they would prepare you every step of the way. So after I built my home in 2010, I was just kind of like as needed, and then one day kind of got dropped in my spirit that I needed to go into real estate. So in 2018, I've been in it a little over 2 years now, 2.5 years, almost three. I got my broker's license and continued the education this year, and a full broker now. I'm with All Good Real Estate, a small firm in Raleigh area. And our thing is educating our clients on, especially my heart, the first time home buyer, as I said, educating them on, your credit, having some money, some programs that are there, some things that you can do, lenders that we have formed partnerships with. I also utilized my platform at my church, as you know, being able to, we have a River Wealth Institute. My church is the River Durham, and we seek to help people go from out of poverty and to assist them on their journey to wealth. And as home ownership, as Corinne stated, is the first step. So we partner with several leaders in the area, lenders, lawyers, all that kind of thing, to kind of help our participants and our students, if you will, go through the process. So now that I am a realtor for North Carolina and the state of North Carolina, I'm growing and learning under a great big that I have. First time home buyer clients, just advocating for them as well, and selling and buying homes and listing homes that are for sale, teaching people about the MLS, how not to just be using one particular social media site to build their whole, ideal of how real estate works, and being on great panels like this. So wonderful.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
having me. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Melissa. And then, last but not least, my co-laborer in the gospel, who I serve with every Sunday morning, Dr. Michelle Outlaw. Can you introduce yourself and tell us about the services that you offer as well?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me. And so I own CEO Dr. Finance, and I provide financial services to really any institutions who need it, as well as individuals. And so right now I serve with the African American Credit Union Coalition as the Chief Strategy Officer. I serve with the credit union as the Chief Operating Officer. But then also Dr. Finance expands beyond that. And my tagline is looking at things differently.
Mm.
And so I'm looking at the economics and how everything that goes on in this world impacts it. So on my website, I write newsletters and I have things out about what's happening in the world, whether it's political, how it comes back to economics, and then how does it impact you. And so that's what we do at Dr. Finance.
All right, awesome. Like I said, I'm so excited to have you ladies with me tonight. So let's jump right in, and I will start with the realtors tonight. And so, one question that one couple of terms I've been kind of hearing lately are buyer's market, seller's market. Can you elaborate on these terms and tell us, I guess, what this current market is suited for? And Corinne, we'll start with you, and then Melissa, you can answer when she's done.
Thank you. So yeah, we get that a lot. Like, we're in the buyer's market or we're in a seller's market. And what does that mean? What does that look like? And it really goes back to supply and demand, right? For any of us who've ever had an economic course, and we talk about supply and demand, we're really literally talking about how many buyers versus how many homes that we have available for the buyers. Okay. And so if we look at it in today's market, are we in a seller's market? And the question actually arises, but it can vary, believe it or not. It will depend on your region, your location, your price point. So there are a lot of factors that go into place, but primarily right now we are seeing a seller's market. And so by us saying that we see a seller's market, meaning we have a limited inventory and there are more buyers than there are homes to sell. And rightfully so, because right now rates are really, really low. And if you look at COVID right now, everybody's like, well, with COVID going on, we're in the midst of a world health crisis. How can we have a market that's still booming, that's still so strong? And reality is that people still need a place to live. And so because of that, there we need to help them as realtors. And our government has really worked hand in hand with a lot of our lenders to offer financing at a very low rate. So right now we have an opportunity to really take advantage of what we call OPM, other people's money, and do that.
That's what I want.
To take advantage of the American dream for basically very little to compare to in a normal situation or a normal market would be.
Thank you.
Agreed. And I would just add to what she said, just letting our people out that are listening know that because of that seller's market, it makes the offer process a little bit convoluted. And we really want to come to the table with our A game, which is why you want a realtor, because we negotiate. Everything has a price. So, you really want someone that knows what your needs are, has your best interests at heart. We work for you. That's the purpose. The seller is going to pay our fee. So it's not a conflict of interest in any way. That does mean that we have to act fast. We need to be diligent in what we're doing. We need to read what we have. You need to be knowledgeable of our region, our department, what we're looking for. We need to know exactly what we're looking for, be ready and prepared, and have all of your tools available, technology, all of these things. It just means that the supply is less than the demand. So that means we need to have an advantage. So that is why a lot of people say, leading to your question, why do you need a realtor? That's one of the reasons. You want someone who can bring their A game to the table for you and work for you to get that deal done and get that offer accepted, so that you're not looking and, really discouraging someone who is new to the process. So yeah, definitely when it's a seller's market, and I would agree that we are in one, those interest rates, competitive, having money, all those things, getting free money, all of those things come into play. So that's what I would add to what Corinne has said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for clarifying that, because I know a lot of people, when you think about getting an agent, they always talk about, the agent's commission and all that stuff. But thank you for clarifying that it's the seller
Yes.
that pays the fee for the realtor. Corinne, did you have something that you wanted to add?
No, I was just, well, yes. So we were talking about just kind of going back to what Melissa was saying, like you have to be on your A game in this market as a buyer. And I want to be very transparent that a lot of buyers come in here uninformed. And that's why it is so important that you have a professional that is not just saying, hey, I'm a realtor, but somebody who's actually in the market, foot on the ground, that can help educate you and navigate you through the way. Because ultimately in this market, it is very challenging. Yeah. And sometimes we do hype on the great and we don't talk about the things that may not be so great. And what happens, a lot of these buyers come in here unprepared in this market and they get discouraged.
Yes.
And it's our job to really encourage them, because I really call this a perfect storm, right? You are in the midst of a storm. And so because of that, it's challenging. Okay, you have 10 buyers and they all want the same house,
Yes.
Oh wow.
right? And then we talk about negotiation. There's several times in the point of a transaction that we get to negotiate and advocate for our clients. But sometimes in this market, you have to put your best foot forward, and there is no time or room for a lot of negotiation.
Right.
And so, how you create that package deal for that seller to choose you, that is when that top agent is going to shine, because there's some extra work that we got to do for our clients. And I'm sure Melissa will agree, right? That
Definitely.
we have to do it. However, I can also tell you there's not many times I've been in this business literally going on 20 years. I can I can tell you hands down, this is probably the second time that we were in the market that we can get the rates that we get now. And it's probably actually the best so far. And you talking about leveraging the dollar, you can buy the same house for $250,000 a year ago. In this market, your payments would be $150 to $200 more, just because of the difference of the interest rate. And
Yeah.
so I tell my buyers, do not get discouraged, do not get weary in the process, stick it out. And if you get the right people on your team, you will get your house and you will get your share of the American dream.
Thank you for that. Now, because I have heard people, who are in the process, they say, well, as soon as we made an offer, there were three other offers to counter our offer. And a lot of people, they're forced to like move on, I guess, like to their next choice that they were looking at. But I do see the importance of having an agent who was knowledgeable about the market. Now, Melissa, you started talking about the reasons that you would need a realtor. So, how do you choose an agent? I mean, aren't y'all all the same?
No,
You just
and
work for,
very
you might work for Keller Williams. I mean, you work for All Good. Corinne has her own company. Somebody else works for, I don't know, Century 21. They still around. So what is that process like? What should you look for? Some of the things you should look for when you're choosing a realtor.
well, being what someone could say fairly new to the process, being licensed. I learned early on that it's just like when you go in the grocery store. There are many loaves of bread, many. But
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that you can't get into this industry. So I myself, there's room for all of us. There's a Corinne that's 20 years. She has Keller Williams, major realtor in this whole game here. And then you may have a smaller agency. I think number one is going to be you need to do your research a little bit. And with social media now, everything's out there. Reviews, just like you would if you were trying to buy something. Friends and family, number one, a great experience. They like their realtor. They like the way the person kept up with them. I said, we at All Good Real Estate make it our business prior to COVID. We always do home, in order to do, someone's just buying their home. When they're ready to do their celebration and having their friends and family over, we like to send food over. We order it. We have it there so they don't have to worry about cooking or any of that. It's already done. We send gift cards. We send gifts. We pay attention to their birthdays. You really need to. This is not just a transaction. This is a relationship.
Hmm.
We keep up with our clients. We like to let them know that we're a family at All Good Real Estate. Also, I would say definitely referrals from friends, family, social media, any kind of way. Technology, the way we generate leads, just putting a Facebook ad out there to kind of generate. You can set it up to have people from a certain area. There's just many things that your agent, the tools that they have in their toolbox, you might want to ask those kind of questions based on what you need. If you're looking for something right in this region, you only want this house, you only want to spend this amount of money, you're already pre-approved. Maybe you have an FHA loan, you're dealing with the government. It just depends on where you are in the process. We're not the same, but I think I know this is a service industry, and it's about who you know,
Hmm.
what lenders you may have a relationship already, how you can make the process a little clearer and a little faster. than say another agency. Whether you're a weekend person, some people may only want to do Monday through Friday. They don't want to do their real estate on weekends. They maybe they're with their family. Uh, we are Monday through Sunday. I mean, we will meet with you to do whatever needs to be done. We don't have set hours. You can call us. This is our business. So I think all of those things should go into play. I think when you meet with someone and you talk with them, you'll be able to pick up on if they're really in tune with what you need. And let's not forget experience. An agent went 20 years. She's been in here a lot. She's had various roles, and then you have millennial people. Maybe they want to, deal with someone. Maybe their friend went to school and they're going to deal with their friend because they know them. So, it could be either way. There's room for all of us here. Everyone has to start somewhere, and people can build their livelihood here and get 20 years in. So those are my things. Interview your people. You can always meet with them. We don't have an agreement. There's not a buyer's agency agreement established just from a conversation. So part of our job is to be able to converse with anyone, big budget, small budget, just to be able to describe what we can do for them. Then if it's a match, the next point, perhaps we'll get that buyer's agency agreement, which is a contract. I mean, it's not a contract, it's an agreement. So it can be changed, altered. You're not stuck. You have options. Corinne?
Yeah, no, great job with that. No, I agree. You have options. There's so many great agents in so many different markets. And honestly, I will say referrals always the best. Majority of my business come from past clients referrals, and then people that get to know us and see what we're doing day to day. But what I would recommend for anybody who's looking to actually buy, do a consultation. Take a time, take 30 minutes. You can actually call 2 to 3 agents and interview. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're buying a home, typically that's the biggest investment that you're probably making. And so it is very serious. And there are plenty of agents who really value in what they do, just like with Melissa. And, this is something that we don't take for granted. It's actually a ministry for many of us. It is a ministry. It is literally a blessing when we're able to serve our clients in such a high way. But at the end of the day, it's about them. It's about you guys. So it is important that you take your time in that process to find the right person. Figure out what you're looking for, making sure that you're having somebody that understands your needs. Because sometimes we do talk to clients, and they said they talked to somebody and it was like they just wasn't even listening to what I was saying, and realize that everybody is just very unique in its own way, and just like realtors are. So just finding your perfect match and trusting the process and going from there.
And I would just add, I'm sure you can add, Corinne, depending on, you're not just having your relationship with just one agent. Our entire firm, my broker in charge, I'm surrounded by people that have been in the industry 15, 20 years, Remax, have their own firms. I am surrounded. I don't make moves without having other people's input, for the most part, if you will. When you come into All Good, it really is All Good. We're here to serve you. Our entire team is here to serve you. We have different people with different experiences, different levels. Some people may deal with a certain kind of part of the industry, which we have some people that deal with commercial, because you may not just want a home. You may have a business, one of the business. You may need an office for your business. And it's the state of North Carolina. We have out of our, triangle area clients as well. So just knowing that our entire firm can work together to serve your need is helpful. In my opinion, you want a firm, you're not just getting just one particular agent.
Thank you. That's a good point. So I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit here and go over here to Rashia. Now, Rashia, you offer a unique service that can be helpful to those who want to enter into the home buying process. So can you tell us more about what that service? I know you mentioned part of it in your introduction, but can you give us a little bit more details about the service you offer and how it can be beneficial to the home buyer?
Yeah, so what Arise Then does, we partner with a company called United Credit Education Services, and what the company does is actually go in and, when a client comes to me and says, I went and I tried to get a home. I thought my credit score was credit worthy to get. I found out that I had some things that I need to work on, and I need some help. So what my services does is they actually go in and will pull your credit. They'll do a pull on your credit, and they will draft all three of your letters with all three credit bureaus with anything that's negatively impacting your score. So what we do is we leverage the Fair Credit Reporting Law Act. So, if there's anything obsolete, anything that's inaccurate, anything that's negative on your credit profile, the company will actually go in and dispute those items for you. And a lot of people come to me because they've never had their credit looked at. They're going off of Credit Karma, which is not true data. Credit Karma has actually bought your data from someone else just to get you to keep checking your score and looking and thinking that you have a certain score when you really don't. And so they come to me and get the services done. That process, the company will go in and draft the letters for the client. They will send the letters out to the client, and all of the client has to do is just sign the letters and send some verification back. And then in 45 business days, you get all three set of your results back. So you get results back from TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, because all of our bureaus have different things about us. Typically what happens is my clients will receive their results and then they don't really understand what the results mean. They've gotten things deleted off, they've gotten items updated, but they don't really understand how to read it. And so I come in and actually do the coaching on that and actually advise them on, hey, we were able to get 6 items deleted off of you from 2006 that have been like sitting, just hanging out here on your credit, whether it's a bankruptcy, whether it's a judgment, whether it's a late payment or anything. I even had a client one time that her name was spelled wrong on 6 of her credit profiles, and they took it off because that's inaccurate data. It wasn't her, even though it was technically her, but her name was spelled wrong, so they removed it off. And as a result of that, her score went up. Now that's a happy path. Some people don't have a happy path. And I think one of the questions that you have for me is that, what's the difference between your services and the people that say, hey, we can fix your credit, money back guarantee? Well, one, the first thing is that they're not being totally honest, because it's dependent upon a credit profile. It's not every one all fix all, because my credit is my credit. Your credit is your credit. And at the end of the day, we all have had life challenges that has presented us with situations that my credit may have something on that your credit might not have. So I always be very open and authentic and true to my clients and say, listen, this is what my partnering company can do. I don't know what can happen for you until we actually go through the process. And then when we go through the process, I actually go in and I say, okay, they were able to get X, Y, and Z up. Let's go in and check your score through our credit monitoring system. And then we go in and we check the scores and we look. Most people are come to me because they want to either purchase a car or they want to purchase a home. And I educate them on looking at that FICO, not just looking at your TransUnion score, not just looking at your Equifax or your Experian score, but the FICO score. And not only the FICO score, but your middle score, right? Because that's what they're going to be looking at. That's what lenders are going to be looking for. And so I coach them and I advise them to, if they want to keep like a real tab on their credit before they actually go through that lending process again and being denied, then listen, let's look into getting my FICO a subscription. It's $39 a month. I have it myself, so that you're well informed and you're not going into the lending office and saying, hey, I've got a 720 when really you got a 520. Right. And so that's pretty much what my company does and the services that I provide.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, because I do see a lot of those companies out there, and they say, "Oh, for $100, we can get you to a 750 in 3 months," and I'm like, I ain't wasting my money on that.
Listen, there are people out there that do that, and I always, I like what one of my sisters said before about do your research. interview with people.
Mhm.
Integrity is everything. You know, we're all in the pandemic right now, and everybody trying to get a free ride, right? And so when you're talking about making major decisions like purchasing a home or even investing in getting your credit restored, or credit help, you don't want one of those quick fixes, because quick fixes are gonna, that's what it's gonna be, a quick fix for the interim, and then you're gonna be right back in the same predicament. And so if anybody promises you that, hey, I can fix your 60 days and all of this, you might want to check that out, because it took time to mess up your credit, and it's going to take time to restore it. But if you get partnered up with the right people and the right reputable company to help coach you through that process, then you will be in a better predicament when you go to search out for your realtor or your mortgage lender to say, hey, I know exactly where I am, and I know I'm going to get approved for this home. It's not if I'm going to be approved. I know, because I've been educated and I've done my research.
Yeah, that's gonna be me right there.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I'm gonna do my research. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for that and for clearing up a lot of that that misinformation out there. So let's jump over here to Dr. Outlaw. And so Dr. Outlaw, you are the doctor of finance. So we wanna know, how can we get the money? How can we use other people's money to make our American dream come true of home ownership?
Absolutely. Well, the rule of thumb is always use somebody else's money and not your own, right? There are lots of avenues to assist. You have to really look for them. And I'll give you a list of them. And this is not an exhaustive list, but it'll at least start the process.
And what
But,
I can do,
what I
excuse me
would.
for interrupting you, I'll get this list from you and I'll post it in the group so people will can have these resources. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. Check with your community and economic development area. So pull up the community and economic development website and see what's available in your area. Check out the housing authority websites. Go to the HUD website, that's the Housing and Urban Development. Drop in your zip code. It can tell you if there's funds out there to help you with some down payment assistance. There's IDA programs, which are individual development accounts. That may be a source of helping you with the down payments. NeighborWorks America Housing Counseling. Then there's a website, is studentloanhero.com. That has about 11 first-time homebuyer tips where you can look at ways to find down payment assistance. Check in with Habitat for Humanity Housing. You may have to put in some sweat equity, but it's well worth it. And then your state financing authority, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the CDFI, Community Development Financial Institutions. They may have some funds available with their financial institutions. FHA, VA loans. VA loans are golden for our veterans. USDA. There's Home Path, the Ready Buyer Program. And then check out all the local first-time homebuyer programs. You may have to take some classes, but again, it's well worth it. And then check in with your local credit unions and your banks, because there's always foreclosures. And when we have those properties, we really don't want your property. I know people talk about, oh, the banks and the credit unions are foreclosing on me. But at the end of the day, we are not in the real estate business. We lend that, and we need the money back to continue lending to others. And so in with those credit unions and with those banks and just ask if they have some foreclosures, because they may sell it to you at what is just owed and may not try to make a profit. That can really save you, and you can walk in with some equity in those properties. So that's just some of them, and I'll be happy to share those and others with you.
Thank you. So how do we determine, I guess, if a lender is reputable? Because I know there was a point in time when there were lenders preying on like the elderly, like these second mortgages. So how do we choose a lender and determine if this is the best lender to go with?
I guess.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, you always want to, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Corinne.
No, no, go ahead.
You want to look for the NCUA. If it's a credit union, the National Credit Union Administration, look for that NCUA sign in the financial institutions. If it's a bank, look for the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, because those are backed by the government. And so you can always go to the CFPB, which is your Consumer Protections Bureau, and you can ask questions. They have lots of information on the website, but make sure that your funds are backed by the federal government. Otherwise, you really don't know who you're dealing with. You don't want to have your credit and your personal information out where you don't know where that is. And so, and you're right, there's been a lot of atrocious things that have happened in our market, but there's a lot of great people in this market who are ready and willing to help, but make sure that it's backed by a federal government.
Thank you. Corinne, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
No, I think Michelle did a great job.
Okay.
Just really just doing your due diligence with everything, everybody, every company, and do not just take what somebody say for granted. Oh, somebody said this. No, do your research, find out, and then I think also partnering with your realtor too will also play a part, because as realtors we know who's out there. We're the ones who's working with the sellers who's accepting these loans, and I could tell you right now, before we look at a buyer, we're looking at their credentials, who's their lender, and is there a trusted source. If we don't know the lender, it's already at risk for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that kind of brings us to one of those questions that you were asking. What I would say, one of those first steps, coming with your pre-approval or your pre-qualification kind of gives us an idea maybe of what lender you're using or what lender you've been to. So we can be right away like, wait a minute, not familiar with that one. Let's kind of make sure this is who they say they are.
Okay. And so, so say more about some of the first steps that people should do when they are thinking about entering into the home buying process.
Well, as I just stated, I'll jump out first, and then Corinne can add to it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, one of the biggest things I am finding, I'm dealing, a lot of my clients are millennials, and we're young, and they're just on fire, and they just know more, have an opportunity to know more about all of it, much more than their parents did. So, number one, they determine how much house they can afford. They are like, I'm not paying this. I only want to do this amount, or, I'm approved for this, but maybe I'm only going to do about 80 or 90%. They're asking more questions about, should I really do 100% finance? And, I find that they are a group of people that have done their pre homework, maybe through having an experience with their parent or someone in their family that didn't come to the table knowing how much house can you afford based on your income, your score, those kind of things, and having a range of how much you want to spend on a home. Based on the way rent is now, things are very expensive. They probably have a broader, more larger amount of money that they are willing to pay monthly. Which helps when we are looking at what they're pre-approved for, pre-qualified for, knowing that number is not what you have to spend. So we tell them that, because you have that approval, we don't have to max it out because we don't want your house poor. So, I would say that if you're thinking about buying a home, determine how much house you can afford. There's a formula we give them talking about, the 36%, the debt ratio, a lot of things that we talk to them about, even though they're working with the lender. There are a few things that I talk to my clients about because I went through it myself. My husband and I built our home. So just having that experience and being able to talk to them about that, those two things I would say should be step 1, 2, or 2 and 3.
Thank you. Corinne, would you like to add to that?
She really kind of hit it over the head. Really, it's 3 things that you want to do, right? You want to get pre-qualified. You want to talk with a trusted lender. You want to go ahead and find yourself a realtor and do a consultation. Like, don't go in this blindly. And that's the purpose of our consultation. So when we sit down with you, we're actually going to go with you through that process. We're going to do an overview from literally from that moment that you step into the office, or if we're doing it virtually, because we do virtual consultations thanks to COVID. And we're going to walk you through that process to the point you actually have the keys in your hand and it's your home, right? And so just being fully aware of what those steps are and what's next, but really don't get too caught up in I got to know everything, right? Find yourself a professional on for your realtor side, for your lender side. Do your due diligence. There's a lot of information at hand. Get to know the process and just go forward.
Thank you. So I
May
don't
I
think
add
this
something?
question was. Yeah, go ahead.
Reverse, may I add something in there? I'm sorry. With being a lender for
Yeah,
over
go ahead.
30 years, and I agree with what they have said, but I see it on the front end where people come in and they have no clue what their debt to income ratio is. They have no clue what their credit score is, and they walk in and want you to make magic. They've seen this house, they've driven by this $600,000 $1 million house, and all they know is, I want the house. And there used to be a time when we had what we call approved on stated income. And so they want you to just, for interest only. Well, since the mortgage debacle, that's really become a thing of the past. And so we have to sit down with them and show them how to calculate a debt to income. So you want to look at your debt to income ratio, but you also need to look at your disposable income. And that's a very different number. When you're talking about 36% debt to income ratio, it's only 36%, well, 36% gross.
Right.
But we live on our net. And you need to let what is your net? Because by the time you pay your mortgage, your house, the gas, the lights, the water, your tithing, and your taking care of the children, that goes away very, very quickly. So from 36% to what your disposable income is can look dramatically different. And so what I would say is, yes, look at your ratios. They're key because we're going to buy by the ratios. But you also need to be very realistic in your lifestyle. So you can have the exact same income, your gross income, your annual salary. But our disposable incomes may look very different because of our, and so, what Ria was saying earlier, and I hope I named her name correctly, when she says life happens and things happen in our credit bureaus, there's illness, there's death, and so people's credit is impacted from different reasons. But think about those things. Think of your disposable income is. Think about, right now it is a buyer's market and there's great prices on homes, but you also have to think about the tax value of those homes. And you may get a great deal on the sales side. You're still going to pay your taxes based upon that higher value. And I have had friends who have been tripped up thinking, okay, my taxes will be X amount because this is what I paid for the home. However, they got a great deal and they have to pay a lot of taxes, annual tax, property taxes on the back end. So be cognizant of all those things as well.
That's good.
That's really good. Can I add to that?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Michelle brought out such a great point, and that's why it is essential that you have a strong realtor professional, but you also have a strong lender professional to really help navigate you through that process. And one of the things that we really talk about, and Michelle literally hit it on the head, is really know your financial thermostat, right? And understand that everybody's thermostat is different, but that's when you're working with Miss Rashia and making sure that your credit is in line, checking your credit, get your credit monitoring rate, right? Look at your income and your debts. Sometimes it's okay to say, you know what? I probably made some financial mistakes, but it's time for me to clean up and start
Yeah.
trimming the fat.
Mm-hmm.
Start trimming the fat. Don't keep applying for credit cards. You go into the store, they're going to give you an extra 30% off or 25% for applying today. That is messing up your credit, especially during the holidays. They're coming after you guys. Stay away. I always say, don't buy a car, right? Sometimes we can be literally um, mentally poor in this sense because we don't really understand the financial game of wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
we'll buy the car before the house.
Mhm. Yep.
And you get that car, then guess what? That house is not coming.
That's right.
And then let's just talk about savings. How
Mhm.
many of us have truly been really intentional when it
That's
comes to
right.
saving? Do you have 3 to 6 months in reserves?
Right.
Guess what? If you have money in the bank, your financial thermostat looks a little bit more healthier when we have our lender professionals such as Michelle and they're, her team, and she refers you to somebody, and they're going through it, and they were like, well, wait a minute. You don't even have any money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
But we're spending, we're buying the Gucci and the Louis Vuitton. We're out eating every single night. Ruth
Yeah.
Chris.
Got a Mercedes parked in the driveway, but living in the apartment.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And let's be honest, I don't know all of who our audience is, but that is something that we do really struggle with in our community
Mm-hmm.
because
Mhm.
we're not taught these things. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about finances. We don't talk about real estate. And it's up
Mhm.
to us to really change the trajectory of what our future looks like.
Right.
Mhm.
And with this election, I'll add, I mean, we're in the midst of that right now. COVID really brought that to the whole front. It is one of the major issues there. And tied to COVID is your prosperity. People have lost their income, businesses are folding. Then, on the other hand, you have people making more income than they've ever made on their side gig that are not even paying taxes on. And, it's like, wait, you do know you're going to have to report this income. I mean, there's just so much wrapped up in the real estate transaction. We call it a transaction, but it's really about the property. But the
Yep.
experience, it is like an engagement, and then at the end you get the house. I would agree with all of that. What everyone has said, it is very important. Having friends that have today's rent that they pay $1,500, $1,700 a month in rent, and they want to equate that to, oh, if I can pay that in a rent, I can pay it in mortgage. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We got some other things you got to pay along with that mortgage that may be wrapped into your mortgage, but pity is very strong. We need you to know that there are other things you have to pay for. You need to budget for things that you're going to have to do on that home.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance, doing things to get the home inspected. There are layers. This is an onion. It's many layers. So,
Mhm.
like she said, it's a ministry. Having your audience and knowing your audience so that you can really have that kind of conversation and expand their thought. We're not telling you how to think, but we want to give you things that will, point you toward considering your personal view on that and your personal what you need to do, especially
Mhm.
with millennials and side jobs and all kind of things and income and business and all of that, making them kind of adhere to what we know from so many years of real estate versus what they experience. Their friend got a house for a low rate. They didn't pay any money down. I'm like, but no money down doesn't mean no money at all.
Right.
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 It just means not a down payment,
Right.
Mhm.
or maybe a really low down payment. And then are they going to make that be income? Is there going to be a lien, put on your home, a small lien? It's so many parts and pieces that we just need to be able to tell our people because it's not known.
Right. It is. And so, Rashia, I wanted to come back to you. What else can you offer to someone? Say their credit score is a 450. Um,
Mhm.
what's the first thing that they need to do? Do they need to, look at their, make a budget, stop eating out, you
Yeah.
know, help them out tonight.
Yeah, all of those things are like spot on. But the three pieces that I always try to coach on and try to govern people around their credit, right? But there's that make up our credit. So it's our payment history. So that's 35% of our credit, right? So if we get to those places where, we rather be laced up with lace frontals and nails and all that instead of paying our rent, instead of paying our car note and all those different things, those things matter when it comes to your credit. So you're having late payments, although my services can potentially get those updated and removed for you, it doesn't help the process at all. It only worsens the process for you when it comes to your credit. So really making sure that you've got good payment history. And if you struggle with that, get you a financial coach. Get you somebody that can help partner with you and be an accountability partner with you. They help you. Some people just struggle in that area. They want to do it. They just don't know how. So get you someone that can say, hey, did you get your rent paid on the 1st like it was due? Did you get your car note paid on the 15th like it was due? Did you pay your light bill and all those different things that tie into your credit on time? The second piece of that is the amounts owed. So I think one of my talked about, don't go buy a new car if you don't need it. Don't, indulge into the holiday, that Macy's going to give me this card if I go in and I apply. Don't do that. If you are comfortable in the apartment, you comfortable in the shack, then this conversation ain't for you. I'm trying not to preach, but I'm trying to just give it to you real. if you comfortable, this conversation is not for you. But if you're ready to really go up in your life and really get the promises fulfilled in your life that God has for you, then there's going to be some hard decisions that we have to make. So making sure that we don't start opening up unnecessary accounts just because we can, right? I get clients all the time, we help them build, we help them restore. Their score is like a 680, then they're getting excited. So then they start going applying for stuff. They start applying for credit cards, and then they want the house, and then now their score is back to the low 500s because they didn't pay things on time. Their eyes got really big because I could do this at one point in time, and now I want to get a house. So now I'm stuck with a FHA loan when I really could have got a conventional loan if I would have just stayed disciplined, right? So making sure that those amounts owed stay at a good place. The next piece of it is length of credit history. So, sometimes people will coach and say, go ahead and pay all of your credit cards off and close them out. Don't do that. Don't do that, because you want to show people that you can hold credit and that you have a good mixture of credit. You don't want people to look at your credit profile and everything's zero and everything's closed out. Well, can you not hold credit? That's what our lender is going to be looking at. Can you not hold credit? Your FICO makes up the piece of it and makes a lender say, are you credit worthy? Are you credit worthy for me to lend you this money for this home? So making sure that you got a good length of credit. Also, new credit. Be very mindful of that. That makes up 10%. Now, when we talk about making those necessary purchases, I can even talk about me. And I think that's why people glean to me, because I'll give you the real, the ugly about me. I needed a new vehicle in July. I had paid vehicle off, but it was still trouble. You know how it is. You pay a vehicle off. Now, all of a sudden, it's starting to give you trouble, right? So it was more work for me. Although my husband and I want to purchase a bigger home, we needed to purchase the vehicle in July. So I knew what it was going to do to my credit when I purchased the vehicle. But I also, when I walked in the dealership, I told them what my credit score, because I was in the know of my FICO. I was in the know of my middle score and my auto score. And that's the other thing, too. Just because you see a score, a blanket score, you got to know what your mortgage is. And my FICO will help you do that. So having that new credit, but making those necessary purchases, not the stuff that we want, but the stuff that we absolutely need. You need a house. You need roof over your head. You need something to drive. Those are necessities. This other stuff can wait. And then the last thing, of course, making sure we got a good credit mix. So my 3 takeaways for clients and any potential people that just feel like, okay, how can I get out of this? How can I get my scores up? Make your payments on time. Whatever you got that's tied to your social. Make your payments on time. Keep your credit card balances low. Don't ever pay them off to zero. I always pay my credit cards down and leave at least $3 on them, because I want that utilization and that revolve to look, when they go and look at my credit profile, they say, okay, she still got something going on, but it ain't this huge balance, right? And then open new credit accounts only when needed. So those are my 3 takeaways. And just really monitoring your credit and not solely depending on these, credit karmas and things like that, because they don't bought your data from the third party and they give you the pretty view, right? They're not giving you the real stuff. So really be in the know of what your credit is before you even start that lending process, so that you're not in more disappointment.
Let me go delete Credit Karma.
With
But
my
Yeah,
thank you.
FICO.
I
Yeah,
use
well,
Credit
and I'm just
Karma.
saying, actually, in your financial institutions don't use Credit Karma to qualify you. They're going to use
Mm-mm.
Equifax and TransUnion,
That's right.
and PRW. So why worry and pay for a service that you can't use to get your financing?
That's right.
The only thing that I even like about them is that they're quick to report if anything's changed on your credit. I mean, like
Yeah.
10 minutes, ping, you get that little notification. I don't pay anything, but that's the only thing I got out of Credit Karma. I tell people, that score is not real. That's
Yeah.
not what we want. If it's not FICO, it's not going to get you there. So
My FICO app is really going to give you the real deal, the real picture. They're going to update you every month with your new credit report. And like, even when I was in the process of buying my new vehicle, as soon as they started running my numbers, I was getting hits from my FICO every 5 seconds. Like, so they're trying to get you qualified. So my FICO is the investment. It's $40 a month. We take $40 a week sometime and go eat out. Put that money and invest that money into something that's going to benefit you in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
certainly agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's excellent. Ladies, this has been so rich, and we're coming up on the hour here. We might have to do a part 2, but this was so good. So much great information that you all have shared. Before we close out tonight, I'm sharing y'all's information on the screen here. If I can just go through each one of you, and we'll start with Corinne. What's the one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's looking to buy a home right now?
Go for it. Go for it. Do your due diligence. Tie into the right people to help you. Get your team of folks who's going to help you. Your realtor, your lender, your repair specialist. Getting to know, but really don't get scared. Don't get weary in the process, right?
Mhm.
It's overwhelming, especially in today's market. But the reality is, like I mentioned before, this is an opportunity for us to get our fair share of the American dream. When we
Mhm.
buy at home, at that point, we are tapping into something called wealth. You have now just increased your net worth. When you are not a homeowner, the average person who does not own a home, their net worth is about $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are actually homeowners, when you actually become a homeowner, what happens over time? You build equity. You find ways you can maximize and profit. You find ways to build wealth through that, and there's so many channels that you can build from that. And the average homeowner's net worth is actually $243,000
Wow.
as of 2019. And so, with that being stated, get your fair share. Do not wait. You right now you are paying for somebody else's mortgage. It is time to take dominion over your life, your finances. God has us all set up to do so much. And for so many of us, and I'm sure even I have been guilty a time or two, when we get in the way of our own blessings.
Mm-hmm.
And so go after it. There's a lot of great resources out there. There's a ton of great people who can help you get connected with the right person and do what you need to do.
I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Rashia. If you could share your one piece of advice you would give.
Yeah, so I think I pretty much capitalized on just really knowing your business, really understanding where you are, and really stop. I think in our culture, in our communities, and just in the world in general, everyone's working off of fear. Some people are just working off of fear, and you don't know what you can do until you actually step out and do it. He tells us in Deuteronomy 18 that he gives us power to get wealth, but sometimes we don't take that power, and we're standing in the way of our power. And he's put tools, put resources in the earth for us. He's gifted all of us with these many talents and gifts to help people. And so I would just say to really, really make sure that you know your business and you take care of your business, and shift the mindset. Shift the mindset. Apartment mindset, that's all well and good. Some people are settled with that, and that's okay. But if you really want what you say you want, if you really want his promises, then we've got to do the work. It's not just going to fall on our lap. We have to do the work, and we have to be good disciplines, and we have to be good stewards over what he has given us. So I would say that, as far as the credit pieces of it is, if you get to a good place and you're ready to go through that lending process and you're ready to get approved, don't just get your credit right for that moment, but continue to build on being good stewards over your finances. Continue to build on being good stewards over your credit and having a good credit mix and not overspending and not over extending yourself just because you can. So I think those are my last pieces with
Thank,
everyone. Just take care
thank
of
you, thank you, Melissa.
your welcome.
I would say, along with what Corinne and Rashia have said, I think understanding that as a home buyer, there is a crawl before you walk concept that I think people could benefit from. The house that I live in, that I built, was my first house. It was what I had faith for then, what I could afford then, what I thought was, the best situation for my husband and my children then. But as we age, as we grow in faith, it's okay to get another home. Just because the first house you buy doesn't mean you have to stay in that same home. And the reason why I would say that is because a lot of people are finding now that maybe they can't afford or shouldn't get that house, their forever home. Studies show you're in the house 7, 10 years before you get that itch. And hey, we've been home now, working from home. You've been in your house longer than you've ever been because you've been home for 24 hours instead of the usual, 8 to sleep and 3 to 4 in and out, dinner and back to sleep again, because you worked out of the home. So I would expect that many people are going to want to change. So I would say change is good. Find out the value of your home. Always know, just like knowing your credit, know the value where you are right now. And it's okay to step out and get a larger home, or perhaps you took that big step. Now you need different things. You need a ranch now. The steps are too much now. So now you need a ranch style. Okay. Call a realtor, maybe the one that sold you the home. Hey, maybe me. Let's talk about it. It's okay to grow as your faith grows. Your properties can grow. You can buy a property and rent that one out. I just say keep everything open and, grow again.
Thank you, Dr. Michelle.
Thank you. So I echo what all the ladies have said. And what I would say is do your research and handle your business. And what I mean by that is in handling your business, there is so much money available. You just have to tap in. I am seeing a lot of our people missing out on available funds because we have not handled our business. And what I mean by that oftentimes is if we are self-employed, if we do have that, like you said, the side hustle, and we have the money, and then we don't want to recognize it on our taxes. But when it comes time to qualify for the mortgage, oh, well, I really make, okay, well, you can't prove it. I can't count it. So handle your business the way it's supposed to be
Preach.
handled, be legitimate so that you can come to the table able to qualify. And then research what you are getting. Look at, what's important to you. All right, is it the schools? Is it the location? And then don't just settle on the first house you see, but is it a good fit for you at that time?
Right.
What are the taxes going to be? What is the maintenance and the upkeep going to be? How long do you want to stay in this home? All that goes into your research. So be able to make good, sound decisions, because you don't want to buy something and then the walls fall down and you don't have the disposable income to fix up your home, because then that ties back into your equity or the lack thereof. So it is about making right decisions. It is about building wealth, and it is about passing on an inheritance to your children and your children's children. My grandfathers both built their homes themselves, and it's generations later, 5, 6 generations later, and we're still enjoying those homes as our family homes. So
Wow.
you got to think, long term. Yes, you can go buy another house, but where's your family going to be when you have grandchildren? Where are they going to come home to? What are you going to pass down to the generations so that they don't have to work as hard as what we had to work and the generations before us had to work? So it's about making steps to make our generations behind us life a little bit easier and having a little bit more.
Thank you so much for those closing words, ladies. And Corinne, your event tomorrow, can you tell us about that quickly?
Yes, so we're having a pop-up virtual homebuyer seminar, and we're really just going to talk about just strategies to becoming a homeowner, what that looks like, how you can utilize that to build wealth, and how you can preserve it, right? And just like Michelle was talking about, we're very passionate about generational wealth and legacy. And so literally we're here to help the community just really just look at things different and have a different insight, and really again take ownership on what our future landscape looks like in regards to our finances. So if anybody is interested, we only have a few seats left. You can go ahead and email me at corinne@kurealestate.com, or you can go ahead and look us up on our Facebook page at KU Real Estate Facebook, and then also on our Instagram as well. And the
Thank
information
you.
is there.
Thank you. Thank you again, ladies, so much. I'm going to move you all backstage so I can maximize your information. So, all of you that are listening out there and watching tonight, please follow these. I mean, these absolutely phenomenal women on Facebook. I'm going to enlarge their information in a minute so you can write down telephone numbers and email addresses. If you feel that, that you don't know where to start, your credit is so bad. Um, Start with Rashia. She can help get you right, so you can start getting your credit to where you need to be, so you can start qualifying for some of this money. And after Rashia gets you together, then you can call Michelle, and she can help you get pre-qualified or find the place you need to go, so you can get other people's money, and then reach out to Melissa or reach out to Corinne. Do your research on your realtor. Ladies, thank you again so much. I really appreciate you sharing part of your Friday night with us. And if there's anything that I can do to assist you all, you have my contact information, and please make sure you share in our Sisters Facebook group. I started this group as a platform to support women and to empower women. And Sisters stands for Sisters, Inspiring Sisters Through Excellence, Resilience, and Sisterhood. And I feel like that's what we've done tonight to our sisters watching, anybody else that was watching, because we were, live on a couple of platforms. And so this was really great information. And again, I thank you so much, ladies. And I'm going to move you backstream. So if y'all could just hold on for just a moment with me. And so here we go. We have these ladies' information here. Make sure you follow these ladies on Facebook if you need to utilize any of their services. Here are their services. I will definitely post this information in the group, and I'll post it. On the other platforms as well, so you will have access to it. Thank you all for joining me tonight for our COVID-19 and homeownership discussion. I hope that you receive some information that will be helpful to you in the home buying process. And you all have a wonderful night. And join us on Sunday for Sisters Sermonizing on Sunday at 7 p.m., where we will have Pastor Emily Carroll, who will bless us on Sunday night. Have a good night and have a wonderful weekend, everybody.